I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into...
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
We both said it before. I'll say it again. You anytime the politicians try to make it about virtue, try to make it like, oh, I'm the virtuous choice, I'm the compassionate choice, my side's the compassionate side, the humanitarian side, dude, it falls so flat and comes off so dumb to any thinking human. If you got two brain cells to rub together, I think you should know better than to trust a politician who tries to come off as virtuous. And dude, so we see the clip where everyone's seeing where the photo op where Trump has the Bible and he's apparently he set up the whole thing, like to stage the shot so he could get the picture of the Bible on there. Yeah. I voted for Trump. Yeah. But I don't kid myself and say that
this is the man of God.
This is a white shining knight pillar man of God.
Now,
then he comes off with they ask him, what's your favorite Bible verse? And are you a New Testament man or an Old Testament man? Both equally. Both. It's a personal thing. I don't really want to talk about it. And then, but here's the thing. Like, it's not just on the Republican side. I want to be fair, so we're going to show the clip of Kamala Harris. This is her talking about vaccines.
Act of getting vaccinated, the act of administering the vaccinations, well, these acts are the very essence of what the Bible and so many faiths tell us about the importance of our role and our power when we say love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor.
Thy neighbor. Thy neighbor.
First off, I want to know the school where she got her degree in theology because they need to be decommissioned. Trump put his foot in his mouth a lot when he was in office. Yeah. He's not doing himself any favors. But fortunately for him, he's got yahoos on the other side of the aisle that do something this blatantly ignorant. You can't to say that the heart of love thy neighbor is getting vaccinated. That is not what the Bible's talking about when it says that. It has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with your neighbor. Getting vaccinated has nothing to do with your neighbor. End of story.
Here's what I can do. And I've had this conversation before. I can get behind a little bit. Okay, if the vaccine saves lives, then technically this is helping your neighbor. I can understand that, but I can't understand where that statement is always paired every single time, unequivocally, with murder kids.
Well, dude, that's it. The problem is that that's not we don't know for certain that that's the case. The spun. Okay, so the vaccine right now is.
What do you mean
that the vaccine saves lives? We don't know for certain that it's the case.
Right, but what I'm saying is...
So that's what I'm saying is that's a big if.
Yes, the hypocrisy is always there. You will never hear someone scream, get vaccinated, and not, but like, it's a woman's right to kill the, with the baby.
Yeah, so obviously that is a level of hypocrisy that borders insanity, in my opinion.
You haven't thought about it.
You can't... Okay, so my body, my choice ends with getting stuck with a needle.
What's the dumb Republican equivalent of that? Is there one? I'm not saying there's not.
Well, the same people, I'll say this, the same people that are, just to show you, look, I call out bullcrap where I see it. Yeah. We try to do that here.
It's easier to do for the left because they claim moral.
The same people that say mask up or you don't love people. The same people that say if you don't get vaccinated, you hate people and you want to murder people. And then they say, by the way, it's a woman's right and her choice to decide whether she wants to murder her unborn child. Those same people, right? They're the same ones that say that, right? Well, on the right-hand side, you have the same people that say abortion is murder, abortion is murder, abortion is murder, are the same people who don't want to create and don't go out of their way to create and allocate funds for single mothers. They don't make plans to streamline the adoption process. These are not priorities. If you think about the Republican platform, streamlining the adoption process, creating funds for single mothers, better education on sexual reproductive situations, better education and stuff at a younger level. Those are not the priorities of the right. They're not. Ours are more, and I'll be honest, like this is my party. Our priorities are abortion is murder, and then we want lower the taxes and a free market, and which all these things are good. All these things are good, but on those where the priorities where the buck ends.
You're talking about the main party, though, the party runners.
Yeah,
your average Republican conservative, I think, would help the single moms, but
I don't know that they're willing to sacrifice for it.
But your average, they're not saying to murder anybody,
right? Well, and this is what I'm saying.
To me, it's like not the equivalent. And I guess what I'm trying to paint is like this is why I'm
now
not
you're talking about why I voted which way.
Why I'm
not
voted. On the left.
I admit that there are fallacies and problems in the side, and there's no perfect party.
Yeah.
So I admit that there are problems on both sides, but one of them seems a little bit more tenable with my values and my beliefs. That happens to be the right side.
Yeah, one of them just seems way less hypocritical.
Dude.
Because I do understand. I understand the angry conservative and Republican. I understand that. But your average person, I think, would like to help the single moms.
Right.
Whereas every liberal that I know is going to lose their mind.
The same people that are pro-abortion, the same people that are pro-abortion that say it's okay, who have voted at the times to have voted for full-term abortions.
Yeah.
The same people who voted for that are the same people that are forcing kids to wear masks at school. The same people that have elaborate parties where nobody is masked up. Obama's a couple weekends ago, his big birthday bash where there's 700 people or something like that were not masked. They were dancing all over each other. No masks. And then the media reported on it as, well, these are sophisticated people. So they've all been vaccinated. They're sophisticated. It's not going to outbreak. They're smarter than that. So apparently, if you're sophisticated, you won't get the virus. But if you're a young child with a great immune system and a 99.998% chance of survival rate, you should still probably wear a mask. It doesn't make any sense. None of that makes any sense. That's probably you're stepping on the reasons as to why I voted. Some of the reasons as to why I voted the way I did.
I'm not even talking about votes. I'm talking about the ideology.
The ideology, right?
I don't care about the vote. I mean, I should. I'm talking about the ideology behind my friends that lose their minds if you say you are pro-life. But at the same time, like, go put on a mask.
I know, and Trump has said he has those famous quotes that make him appear to be so terrible, so dreadful in certain ways, sexist and misogynist, and sometimes he said some things that make him that people have interpreted as racist and these kind of things, right? Yeah. Whatever. At the same time, that shows some scummy nature in that side. I have said this before. Anytime you get to the pillar of politics, you're probably a little scummy. You've probably lied. You've probably cheated people.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. That's why I say you can't trust politicians to be your pillars of virtue. It makes no sense. Yeah. But in the current administration, and we've talked about it before, Kamala Harris, she basically in 2019 calls Biden a racist
when she's going against him,
a segregationist.
Yep. But
all of these things, what you said was hurtful.
Yeah, but the media, they're not going to tell our friends who vote that. They're not going to push the story out, so our friends haven't been told what to think.
The moment he got the ticket and he offered her the VP spot, she was like, he's the greatest. We love Biden. Joe's going to lead this country in a wonderful direction, yada, yada. Yeah. If that doesn't show you some sleazy nature, some scummy nature as well, some self-serving nature, I'm going to say what I need to now and then do what I need to later, then you're just deliberately ignorant or just blind. Or you're just so ideologically twisted and just kind of swallowed and engaged in that ideology so much that you no longer can follow a common logic train. You really can't at that point.
It comes down to, like, for me, ideology. I just don't know. I know very few people that are on the left that their lives are not complete madness. Yeah. Relationships are going south. Bills are going crazy. I don't know anyone that's that way.
So, and I've heard this question before, and so this is pertinent because we're talking about vaccines and masking. I'm talking about politicians being virtuous, not virtuous, whatever. Kamala Harris, when she said that, or Vice President Harris, when she said that about it's love your neighbor, a lot of people have said, do you think Jesus would mask or not mask or get vaxxed or not get vaxxed if he was here? We've had a lot of people weigh in on this thing. Beth Moore's weighed in on it. It seems like every single celebrity has weighed in on it from one side or the other. I will say, I can give you facts, and I'd say everybody's got to follow their own convictions. The head of the National Institutes of Health, the head of the NIH, has said that getting kids to mask up has nothing to do with the health. And this is flat out, you can look it up, has nothing to do with the health detriment to kids from exposure to COVID. Nothing to do with it. What it has to do with school is school closures. They want to avoid school closures by having their kids mask up. Because if there's a outbreak of COVID in a school, it's going to cause them to close the school down. It won't, and they said chances are it's not going to hurt the kids at all. Having them mask up has nothing to do with with how much COVID affects them. It's just kind of like, it doesn't make any sense. If you get vaccinated, you're good, you're in the clear. And you don't need a mask. But now that you're vaccinated, you probably need a mask anyways because you're probably overexposing the other people who aren't vaccinated. You can't tell me that getting your vaccine is love your neighbor. No, you know what loving your neighbor is? You're loving your neighbor. Loving your neighbor is doing what every single one of these frontline workers is getting fired for now. Loving your neighbor is working in the pharmacies and in the hospitals the entire time during the outbreak and during COVID lockdowns of 2020. So many healthcare workers right now are losing their jobs, getting fired because they won't get vaccinated. And they were the ones that were loving your neighbor for an entire year of COVID lockdowns. They were the ones on the front line that were called heroes. I've seen it. I drive around my neighborhood and other neighborhoods. A hero lives here. A hero lives here. Because it was a healthcare worker during lockdowns, during the pandemic, and so many of them are now getting fired because they have vaccine hesitation. Getting vaccinated is not the essence of love your neighbor. That is hilarious that she said that. And again, it's repugnant. Again, to use your platform to promote something so ideologically false. But
it's for me, dude, like I said, it's just immediately and I asked my friend and she had no answer. She could not, she gave me an answer, like literally the answer was, but literally, because it's women we should choose. There was no well, you understand, like this thing is going to become a life and it's going to be running around. It's going to call you mommy. It's going to call someone daddy, and it's just gone.
Yeah.
They have not been told what to think. This is why. I'm not even talking about voting. This is why ideologically I am more conservative, because this left ideology, I think too much for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
It doesn't want to promote free thinking. It's designed to promote more of the same.
Yeah. If you land on that side, you just have not thought about it enough. I don't know how else to say that. And
again, so here's the deal with vaxxing. No vax, mask, no mask, mandates, et cetera, et cetera. What would Jesus do? My thought is approach it prayerfully. I know the scripture says obey the laws of your land, but don't forget that Jesus himself was crucified as an enemy of the state. All right, so somewhere between obey the laws of your land, obey those who are in authority over you, and being crucified as an enemy of the state is where Christians live. That's the comfortable/uncomfortable slot of being a Christian. That's just where you find yourself. So approach all these things prayerfully. I have friends who've been vaccinated. I have friends who haven't. I myself, I'm not. I don't encourage people not to on a daily basis and tell them how evil they are for getting vaccinated. I encourage them to make an informed choice. And anybody who's trying to bully you to one choice or the other and isn't approaching it the same way I am, hey, get all the information and make the choice yourself, I'd stay clear of those people. And anyone who tries to make the choice about virtue, like I would maybe say a prayer for them, because they clearly have they got a few nuts and bolts crossed, let's just say, in my opinion.
Don't get your virtues. Once again, I feel like I sound like a broken record. Don't get your virtues from your current administration.
Please don't.
Because that is just what the left is blind. Like, that's religion.
And
It's just
please,
religion.
if you're on the left, and there's no way you're listening to this if you're on the left,
no
probably.
way, they hate me.
But if you're on the left, honestly, I can admit when my administration, the one that I voted for, does something appalling, does something stupid, does something that is just like completely unprofessional, immoral, wrong, or whatever. I admit it. And I'm like, dude, no, look no further than the picture. I was like, dude, have more wherewithal that if you're going to take a picture on the steps of a church with a Bible, freaking know a Bible verse. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he didn't. All right. And it came off as disingenuous. I thought what he said about the grab them by the private parts, that obviously those are repugnant things. Have the freaking decency to call out your party and say, look, I voted for these people, but that was a sucky thing.
At the least, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the same.
Dude,
At the least.
Dude.
Thank you. That is all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say.
They are the same. Politicians are the same.
Yeah. And I don't know anyone on the left that would not basically put Joe Biden up there with Jesus. I don't know anyone.
If you don't believe that by now, there's a good chance you've just been ideologically, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Brainwashed. Sorry. But really, if you take the time to think for yourself, and you'll probably see yourself agreeing with a lot of that. That's all. As always, you're awesome, and keep being awesome, because that's how he made you.
Don't